Passover, or Pesach, is the Jewish holiday of freedom. It commemorates the liberation of the Israelites from slavery in Egypt when they became free people. Jewish holidays follow the lunar calendar, meaning their dates are based on the moon's cycles rather than the sun cycle in the solar calendar. Passover always begins on the 15th day of the Hebrew month of Nisan and lasts until the 22nd day of Nisan, usually placing the holiday sometime between March and April. The first night of Passover coincides with the first full moon of the month, a significant time in the Jewish calendar. It is a time for family gatherings, special foods, and the retelling of the Exodus story from a book called the Haggadah during the Passover Seder.
In this Haggadah, made for the Macon family, you can find how to set up the table, the story of Passover, and all the steps of this beautiful holiday.
The story of Passover. The story of Passover comes from the book of Exodus. According to the Torah, the Israelites were enslaved in Egypt for hundreds of years until the birth of Moses, who was chosen by God to lead them to freedom. One day, Moses encountered a burning bush where God spoke to him, commanding him to go to Pharaoh and demand the Israelites' freedom. Moses went to Pharaoh and famously declared, "Let my people go!" When Pharaoh refused, God sent 10 plagues upon Egypt, including turning the Nile River into blood, summoning swarms of frogs and locusts, and most importantly, causing the death of the firstborn in every Egyptian household.
The name Pesach, or Passover, is because God passed over the houses of the Israelites in the last plague that God sent to the Egyptians.
After the 10th plague, Pharaoh finally allowed the Israelites to leave. However, soon after, he changed his mind and chased after them with his army. When they reached the Red Sea, God helped Moses part the waters, allowing the Israelites to cross safely. When the Egyptians followed, the sea closed, drowning Pharaoh's army. With this miraculous escape, the Israelites began their journey into the wilderness toward the Promised Land, finally free from slavery. Reciting the story of the Haggadah each year is one of the greatest mitzvot of Passover. We retell this story to every generation so that we remember our past, remain humble, cherish freedom, and embrace others with kindness. As it says in Exodus chapter 23, verse 9, "You shall not oppress a stranger, for you know the feelings of the stranger, having yourselves been strangers in the land of Egypt." The mitzvah is called magid, which comes from the Hebrew word lehagid, or to tell. Magid means to tell, because telling the story again and again ensures that its lessons remain alive. Passover is not just about remembering history, but about passing down its meaning and values to future generations. On the first night of Passover, Jewish families gather for a Seder, a special meal that follows a structured order. During the Seder, we recount the story of the Exodus, sing songs, recite prayers, and follow symbolic rituals found in the Haggadah.
One of the steps during the Seder is to wash our hands. In fact, we do it twice during the Seder. One without a blessing, and the second one with a blessing. And we usually have a towel that says Al Netilat Yadayim, which represents the mitzvah of washing our hands.
Much of the food that we eat on Passover is supposed to be symbolic of different themes and events that happened during the story of Exodus. This is best represented by the Seder plate, which we eat various foods off of during specific moments as we recount Exodus. These include charoset. Charoset is a mixture of fruits, nuts, wine, and spices. Traditionally, we think of it as a reminder of the bricks the Israelites made when they were slaves in Egypt. In a new light, let's consider the variety and mixture of cultures and people in our world. Maror, the bitter herb, reminds us of the bitterness of slavery. In a new light, let's reflect on the bitter moments in our own lives. Zeroah, the roasted bone, reminds us of the Jewish people's sacrifices to connect with God. In a new light, let's think about the sacrifices we make in our own lives. Beitzah, the hard-boiled egg, reminds us of how God protected and nurtured the Israelites, as one would an egg, ensuring us a new life. In a new light, let's think about the security we need and who provides it. And karpas. Karpas usually comes in the form of parsley or another green vegetable. The karpas reminds us of spring, a season of renewal and growth. When the Israelites left Egypt, it was a new beginning for them. Every spring offers us the opportunity for renewal in our own lives. The karpas is dipped in salt water, symbolizing the tears shed by the Jewish slaves in Egypt, a reminder of their suffering and their resilience that carried them to liberation. In a new light, let's think about the latest versions of ourselves this spring, what we want to change, what we want to let go of and embrace so that our lives can bloom. We also drink 4 cups of wine or grape juice, each symbolizing a different aspect of freedom, as mentioned in the Torah. Additionally, we set out 2 special cups. Elijah's cup representing the prophet Elijah, who is believed to visit every Seder, and Miriam's cup honoring Moses' sister Miriam, who played a key role in the Exodus and provided water to the Israelites in the desert. Certain foods are forbidden during Passover.
All the products that are not certified kosher for Passover are forbidden.
This means that many everyday foods must be checked carefully before consumption. When purchasing food for Passover, you want to ensure a special symbol certifies that the product is kosher for Passover. This is usually indicated by a peace sign next to a kosher certification such as OU-P or K-P. Remember that a regular kosher sign like U, OU, or K does not automatically mean the product is kosher for Passover. However, any product that is certified kosher for Passover is always kosher the rest of the year. Because of the Passover restrictions, certain foods like matzo ball soup and gefilte fish are eaten more regularly during this holiday. Jewish people also refrain from eating leavened grains or chametz, such as bread, pasta, or oatmeal.
This is matzah. The matzah is the main dish of Passover because it reminds us when the Israelites left Egypt, they did not have the time to let the bread leaven and rise. Therefore, they ate matzah, unleavened bread. One of the most awaited parts of the Seder is the afikoman. During the Seder, the middle matzah is broken into 2, and part of it is reserved to be eaten as the dessert.
The leader hides it, and the children search for it toward the end of the Seder. The child who finds it gets a prize. The afikoman is then eaten as the last taste of the Seder meal. Because we do not eat chametz during Passover, we clean our homes thoroughly so that not even a single crumb remains. This deep cleaning is a central part of preparing for the holiday. Some Orthodox Jewish households even have a special ritual called the bedikat chametz, where they clean up their chametz with a feather and a candle. Make sure to go beyond the kitchen when cleaning up chametz. Be sure to check the cabinets, the pantry, the refrigerator, the freezer, your drawers, shelves, the dining room, the living room, and your bedrooms, even under the mattress and bed. Store any open chametz packages in a sealed box labeled "Not for Passover" and keep it away from Passover foods. All dishes used during Passover must be kosher for Passover. For this reason, many Jewish households will have a separate set of plates, cups, pots, pans, and silverware. Some Jewish people will also cover their countertops with aluminum foil to ensure only kosher for Passover food touches the surfaces. So, in the weeks leading up to Passover, make sure to clean up all chametz in the house, store away everyday kitchenware to avoid mixing, and take out all Passover dishes, pots, and utensils. Remember, cleaning for Passover isn't just about removing physical chametz. It's about decluttering our lives. Many cultures have spring cleaning traditions symbolizing renewal and fresh starts. Chametz can represent clutter, not just in our kitchen, but in our minds and hearts. Think of the act of cleaning as an opportunity to refresh the home by throwing away old and unnecessary items. Let new air in by opening your windows and welcoming renewal, and donate to those in need for clearing out things that no longer serve you. Many Jewish families have a tradition of going out for the first chametz meal after Passover ends. Pizza night is a favorite choice, especially after a week of matzah pizza. Enjoy your first bites of bread after switching from matzah.
As we reflect on the lessons of Passover, of Pesach, we are reminded that freedom is not a gift that is handed to us, but something we must continuously acknowledge, cherish, and protect. It's a privilege to have the ability to choose our path, to learn, to grow, and to define who we are. The purpose of reading the Haggadah is to spark curiosity, to ask the hard questions, and to connect with our roots. By doing so, we empower ourselves to create a better, more inclusive society where everyone has a place to belong. So let's keep questioning, learning, and striving for freedom, not just for ourselves, but for each other.
We hope this video has given you a strong foundation for understanding the Passover holiday, its rules, and its deeper meaning. Enjoy the holiday and remember to cherish the freedom you have while striving to protect the freedom of others, as God commanded in Exodus chapter 23, verse 9. You shall not oppress a stranger, for you know the feelings of the stranger, having yourselves been strangers in the land of Egypt.